Don't get too red.
Best behaved.
There it is.
Alexander?
We'll start off
How do you spell
some
your last name?
sunscreen with those lights.
Morel, M-O-R-E-A-U.
I bet on that.
Yes, you have a motion to make today.
What do you hear about tomorrow? Are you okay? You expecting, have you heard, have you talked to them?
10:30.
I'll be there, but just,
We're still,
oh, you're still getting prep, yeah, you're
yeah,
prepping.
I can't do it.
Okay.
But I don't think I can do it. Brian will be there.
Nice to see you. And I'm just wanting to be able to know where I fit in, make sure where I'm gonna be and what I'm, you know, that people can hear me and so on and so forth. Right. Okay. It's okay. I know we like to do it, but it's no big deal if we don't. I just ask. It's just finding them on Zoom sometimes. So you go, is there anybody here from so-and-so? And that's what Brian really needs to find them. You know, reach their hand, or whatever they have to do. And even if it's a glitch, it's no big deal. It's not fatal error. It just slows it down for 30 seconds and keep going.
I'd appreciate that. I just put this here for those who don't know who I am.
Or you're in the office, or you're
Did you
at school.
forget?
So you don't say your name, you just say, I nominate
Tired lady.
Oh, that's what oh, okay. Hey, man. I'm good. See you.
Yeah, I was saying how I depend on, what's that?
Names sometimes.
Michael, you're Michael W. or remember I?
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Ginger.
And we're going to begin the 2024 River Valley Technical Center School District Annual Meeting and Informational Meeting. It's hereby called to order. I'm your presiding officer, Larry Kraft, the RVTC District Moderator. If you would, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. As stipulated in the warrant for this meeting, the purpose of this meeting is to, quote, to transact business not involving voting by Australian ballot or voting required by law to be by ballot. Like the town and town school district annual meetings, Robert's Rules of Order and Vermont statutes govern this annual meeting and informational meeting. Articles on the business meeting agenda. The first three are elections, and a couple of notes about how elections are run. You do not need to be recognized to nominate someone. A nomination is not a motion. It does not need a second. And regardless of the number of nominations received, even if there's just one, I will call an election which will be by voice vote. A motion to cast a single ballot is not needed, and it is merely ceremonial. For the other articles and the rest of the business, please wait to be recognized, state your name clearly, address your remarks to me, the moderator, and please limit your remarks only to the article being discussed.
In the interest of fairness, everyone who wants to speak on an article will have that opportunity to do so before I recognize the speaker for the second time on that same article. SAPA TV is here with us, filming it and streaming it live. So let's begin. The business to be transacted includes the following articles. Article 1, to elect a moderator for a term of 2 years. Nominations. Any nominations? Yes.
Bob Flint, I would like to nominate John Brady to serve as the moderator of the River Valley Technical Center School District for a term of 2 years.
John Brady has been nominated. If there are no other nominations, I will call the vote. All those in favor of John Brady as moderator for a term of 2 years indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, John Brady. If he was here, I would tell him what big shoes he has to fill. But I guess I'll have to tell him that sometime this evening.
About size 14, aren't they?
All right, Article 2, to elect a clerk for a term of 2 years. Any nominations? Yeah.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Brenda Blodgett as clerk of the River Valley Tech Center School District for a term of 2 years.
Thank you. Brenda Blodgett has been nominated for clerk for a term of 2 years. If there are no other nominations, I will call the vote. All those in favor of Brenda Blodgett serving as clerk for a term of 2 years indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, Brenda. Article 3, to elect a treasurer for a term of 2 years. Nominations, please. Yes.
I would like to nominate Caitlin Christiana as treasurer of the River Valley Technical Center School District for a term of 2 years.
Thank you. Caitlin Christiana has been nominated for treasurer for a term of 2 years. If there are no other nominations, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of Caitlin Christiana as treasurer for a term of 2 years indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations. Caitlin Christiana has been elected treasurer for a term of 2 years. Article 4, to see what compensation the school district will pay to the officers of the River Valley Technical Center School District. What's your pleasure?
Mr. Moderator, Brenda Blodgett, I'd like to move to compensate the officers and voting members of the River Valley Technical Center School District as follows, as long as they attend at least 50% of the meetings. Moderator, $50 per district meeting. Clerk, $100 per district meeting. Treasurer, $1,000 per annum. And voting board members, $400 per annum.
There is a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
And you are? Yeah, thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Article 5, to hear and act on the reports of the school district officers. What's your pleasure? Yes?
Mr. Moderator, Barbara Cushing, and I move to accept the reports of the River Valley Technical School District officers.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Tina Bixby, second.
All right, we have a motion and it has been seconded to accept the reports of the River Valley Technical Center School District officers. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Article 6, to see if the school district will authorize the Board of Directors to receive and expend funds received through grants, donations, or other outside sources during the ensuing year, so long as such funds do not change the technical education tuition assessment derived from the operating budget approved by the school district voters. What's your pleasure?
Mr.
Yes.
Moderator?
Yep.
Bob Flint, I would move that the school district authorize the Board of Directors to receive and expend funds received through grants, donations, or other outside sources during the ensuing year, so long as such funds do not change the technical education tuition assessment derived from the operating budget approved by the school district voters.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Mr. Moderator?
Yes.
Tina Bixby, I second the motion.
Motion has been seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Article 7, to authorize the Board of Directors to borrow funds through a bridge loan to cover expenses while waiting for state funding to arrive. What's your pleasure? Yes, sir.
Mike Stack, I move to authorize the Board of Directors to borrow funds through a bridge loan to cover expenses while waiting for the state funding to arrive.
Thank you for the motion. Is there a second?
Mr. Moderator?
Yes.
Tina Bixby, I second the motion.
Motion has been seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Article 8, to transact any other business that may legally be brought before the school district annual meeting. Is there any such business? I don't see any, so we will move along. Returning back to the warrant says the meeting will then be recessed to Tuesday, March 5th, 2024, on which date the voters of each member district are further warned to vote on the following article by Australian ballot at their respective polling places. The voting by Australian ballot on March 5th, 2024 reads as follows. Shall the voters of the River Valley Technical Center School District approve the sum of $3,279,217 to defray current expenses for the ensuing fiscal year and to pay outstanding orders and obligations? The information session, I believe, is going to begin by a presentation from Scott Farr, our superintendent. Go on. The floor is yours.
Mr. Moderator, do we need to adjourn the
Well, the warning says recess, so the meeting is, the business meeting is recessed, and we're now in the information meeting.
Thank you.
I didn't make that clear, but I was reading from the warning, but yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
It's an honor to have Larry's last official act as our moderator to hand it off to me. Larry, thank you for the years of service to these very short meetings. I'm Scott Farr. I'm the superintendent director. As with tradition at this meeting, I'll do a short budget overview for the upcoming year. This is what the voters are voting on. These, as Larry mentioned, these are our member school districts: Bellows Falls Union High School District, the Ludlow Mount Holly Unified District, Green Mountain Unified School District, and the Springfield School District. So this is the number. This is what they're voting on, $3,279,217. That is the warrant. If you're in Springfield, they're on beautiful orange salmon-colored ballots.
Every town,
Where else, Tina?
all the ones that we provide.
All the ones we provide are orange in color. So there's two parts. There's the regular budget. That's to operate our daily program, and it's based on the tuition charges to our sending schools. But also in there are grants, like for instance a federal grant we get called Perkins, and any other grants. We get some small resources to run our adult ed program. Those are all grants that come from either the feds or the state, and that does not have an impact on our high school tuition. So those two parts come together, and you end up with a $3,279,217 as the overall budget when those come together. If you notice, our budget is a decrease over the previous year in the local and the proposed budget for adult ed. And we have a thoughtful budget committee that has representatives from all our sending districts and industry, and we wanted to be sensitive to our sending schools because there's a financial cliff that comes from some of the federal monies going away. We've all read about the big impacts of healthcare and other impacts of legislation, and we want to be highly sensitive to that. We were able to accomplish that with a surplus that we're experiencing this year due to some Budget Adjustment Act funds that we received to help mitigate some of the impacts of the pandemic, and we felt that was a good use of those funds. It will still be a tight year for us. So the net decrease on our overall operating budget is $60,352. Very responsible. And I always like to put this in there. What we cost of your local tax bill for your school. We're about 3% of education spending in the state of Vermont. So our regular budget, it's based on the number of students we receive on a 6-semester rolling average from each one of our sending districts. So you can see that enrollments are up, so it's costing more for the taxpayers from Springfield and the Bellows Fall, and we're down slightly Ludlow, Mount Holly, and Green Mountain. There's always that change, and again, it's a 6-semester average. Overall, since the pandemic, we're experiencing slight increases in our student enrollment, so that also helped us come back with a budget that's very responsible this year. So the budget brochure went out almost a month ago. Our annual report is available at town clerk's offices, high school offices, libraries, and on rvtc.org, and we're always willing to take a call and talk about our budget, particularly when it's this responsible. Growing up in a household that those things, the annual budgets and reports were all marked up in pen, we'd be glad to talk about what we're spending on River Valley Technical Center. So thank you. Hopefully you'll all vote, and I'll turn it over to our chair, Bob Flynn.
All right, thank you, Scott. I'm Bob Flynn. I have the honor of being the chair of the RVTC Board of Directors, and this is actually the annual report that Scott was referencing, and I think you can find it online at rvtc.org. And you can't see it probably on TV, but there's kids in the forestry program in the woods. There's somebody doing sawing. This is the health program. This is the safety services program. The point is that these kids, these students, are learning skills that they're going to use in their careers. While they're getting a conventional education as well, they're learning tangible skills. And you know what? They want to be here for that. They want to be here to learn those skills. And there are wonderful examples of that throughout the year, whether it's the boat races that they make boats out of cardboard and race them in the pond out back, which really builds esprit de corps among the different programs. Or even a few weeks ago at Riverside Middle School, when students were flying around drones and doing robotics in a competition that attracted a few hundred people to Riverside in the gym, up in the stands, watching this crazy stuff going on. But guess what? Those kids are learning science and robotics and next generation skills while at the same time participating in a competition. And that's possible because we have an amazing staff here. Staff, faculty, all working together for the benefit of our students. And that's something you really see each June at the annual awards night and the National Technical Center Honor Society ceremonies. You see how much passion there is, not only among the students, but among the staff and faculty. And that really is obvious to those that have the pleasure of visiting this building. So as my day job in economic development, one of our biggest challenges is workforce. And if there was the possibility of having double the number of kids here, all of them would have jobs when they get out. And you know all the employers that call you every day looking for students to fill open positions. So as Scott mentioned, we were particularly sensitive this year to the sending schools, dealing with other educational funding things in the state. So we brought in, I think, a responsible budget, a budget that is lower, but yet hopefully maintains the same level of programming and services to our students, and one that we would appreciate your consideration and support for next week at town meeting. So thank you for the time.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Bob. So we have an informational meeting in progress. We have one article on the ballot at town meeting day. Any questions or discussion on that article? Yes, sir.
David Clark, Westminster. I'm also a member of Bellows Falls Union High School Board. I'm assume that you're aware of a little kerfluffle with the Rockingham warning and how that will impact I suppose I'd call it the completion of the RVTC budget process. How is that sugaring off your problems?
So frequent contact with Superintendent Haas, copied on emails, and then when that started to settle down, I called the lawyer, Sean Toohey, who had been dealing with it on your behalf. I know that Sean was engaged with the town of Rockingham's lawyers, and really what it comes down to is the voters will vote. Those votes won't be official until another meeting that's held in Rockingham to I'm going to say certify, that's
Ratify.
ratify that for all of the articles that weren't posted in a timely fashion. So the best that we can do until that happens is have unofficial results, and then they will become official at that later meeting. I believe they're doing that in early April. So it's not the best scenario, but we're in the same boat with the town, with the other municipalities that are voting in that town.
Did you get your answer? You have another question or
Yeah, it's
follow?
budget.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. David Clark, Westminster again. The question is, Scott or Bob, if you know the answer, we've got 13, 15 technical center districts in Vermont. Where does this budget put us relative to the other districts?
It puts us right about in the low middle like it usually does. Now, I don't know every budget exactly where they're at, but last year we were in that spot, and having conversations with my peers, we're about the same spot, low middle. So we're average cost per student of what other technical centers are in the state.
As a member of the public, I will say that I believe that's a budget which I will be able to support at the polls, and I hope that my constituents in Westminster will also do so.
Thank you, David.
Thank you for your comments and questions. Any other questions or comments concerning the article that will be voted on town meeting day? Seeing none, are we done?
We are done.
The informational meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming. Good night.
Thanks, everybody that came.
Mission, Dave.